Hello friends and welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am your host Tom Downey. On today's show, we are taking an updated look at some of the top round 1 draft targets for the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas sitting at number 17 overall. I believe by the time we get to the NFL draft, that defense will be the likely focus for the Dallas Cowboys. I also want to make note, as we'll dive into a couple of different times throughout the show, being outside the top 15, that could complicate things a little bit for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys' top needs are receiver, assuming that once they take care of Dak and all that. Receiver, which could be crossed off if they get Amari and Randall Cobb back. Then it's corner, defensive end, defensive tackle, and safety. Those needs indicate very clearly to me that the Dallas Cowboys want an early run on quarterback and offensive line. There is a chance, a legitimate chance, that 8 of those first 15, 16, 17 picks are either quarterback or offensive linemen. And if you throw in some of the top defensive prospects, you've kind of whittled down your potential list beyond what it could normally be. Now, I do want to mention receiver. I know that many of you out there want to add another big play receiver, and I get it. But if the Cowboys bring back Amari Cooper, and especially if they bring back Randall Cobb too, I don't think receiver is really in the cards. Now, I do think there is at least a chance that one of Henry Ruggs, CeeDee Lamb, or Jerry Jeudy is on the board at number 17. If they are, I am going to have to consider that as a real option for the Cowboys, even if they bring back one of Cobb or Cooper, because I like offense. Those guys, that makes my offense better. That's a big deal in the NFL. Now, before we dive into some of the other potential draft targets, I want you guys to tell me, who do you want the Cowboys to draft in round 1? Any name you have in mind. I will make this the pinned comment on the video. So if you get an ad break on YouTube, scroll down to the pinned comment and cast your votes right there. We begin with Derrick Brown, who did not have a very good NFL combine and at least gives a chance that he could be on the board at number 17. I still think it's a bit unlikely, but he didn't have a great 40 time, and even as big as he is, he had a historically bad 3-cone drill. I kind of test some ability to go side to side, some agility. 8.22 seconds on that one. Now, he fits what the Cowboys could use. A big body who can get to the quarterback. He's not a great pass rusher, and historically, we've seen NFL teams pass on that in the past. I like Derrick Brown a lot. He'd be a fantastic pick at number 17. I don't think he's there, but because of the bad combine, we can at least discuss it as a possibility. Now, some of the other top defensive prospects that you're just not going to get at 17. Chase Young, Okudah, Isaiah Simmons. It's not going to happen. Frankly, I'd be surprised if one of them was even on the board at number 8 or number 9. That's possible. You'd have to trade up for them, but those 3 players are simply not going to make it to the Cowboys at number 17. Now, if you want to see where these players went and other players went in my latest NFL mock draft, well, I'll make things easy for you guys. Check the comments, check the description. I've got the link in there for you. That is available on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel. I would hope you are all already subscribed. If you're not, hey, I got that link for you in the comments, in the description. Click it, watch it, and subscribe over there for all of our NFL draft coverage. We'll stick on the D-line here. Javon Kinlaw is next up on this list. He fits a lot of what the NFL wants. He can get to the quarterback. He's got great size. He produced, especially in pressures, at the college level. He's a great athlete. All those things put together normally indicates a player is going to have a long NFL career. And from what I gathered at the Combine, really the only way he's on the board at number 17 is if the medicals, the knee tendonitis, does not check out. The Colts are very high on Javon Kinlaw. The Colts don't think he's going to be there for them at number 13. Frankly, there is a very possible scenario in which Kinlaw, if the medicals do check out, goes off the board before Derrick Brown is taken. So I'd love to get him, but if you want him, it's going to have to be due to medical, and that's a whole different red flag box of worms to open up. Now, some other defensive tackle prospects. I thought Justin Madubuike and Neville Gallimore had really good combines. Ross Blacklock was an okay combine, came in lighter than expected. I like these players. I think they'd be great round 2 picks or even back end of round 1 trade down candidates. I don't, however, want to spend a round 1 pick on a defensive tackle not named Derrick Brown or not named Javon Kinlaw with where the Cowboys are at picking number 17 overall. Got some deals for you guys from our friends over at Fanatics. Head over to chatsports.com/CowboysZip. They've got quarter zips available. They are as low as $30. Some of them, of course, more expensive. I like this one coming up, by the way, with Cowboys on the back. I'm a big fan of quarter zips. Very versatile piece of clothing. Great for this type of weather here in Dallas. By the way, free shipping on these quarter zips as well. So I've got that link in the comments and the description. Go check it out and shop. It's chatsports.com/CowboysZip. Let's talk cornerbacks now. C.J. Henderson had himself a week at the NFL Combine. Ran a beautiful 4.39 40-yard dash. That's fantastic speed for someone his size. He's got some good length to him. He showed ball skills earlier in his career at Florida. 4 interceptions his freshman year, 6 total. He was also better in 2018 than 2019. And the reality that we must accept for any player the Cowboys get at number 17 overall, there's normally and almost always a reason why that player is available. Sometimes it's, the NFL missed on him, which was Leighton Vander Esch in year 1. For Henderson, regressed a bit. Still not bad. I mean, his coverage stats are right there. Those are good coverage stats. Like, he was a good cover corner, but he was great in 2018. Had a fantastic season. And this will concern many of you. He's a bad tackler. And from what I've gathered and watched and seen, he kind of made some business decisions this past year, especially early on in the season. So tackling is a red flag there. But Henderson, if you lose Byron Jones, one of the top options to replace him in the NFL draft. Now, do you guys want a new 7-round Cowboys mock draft? If that is the case, let me know. Type Y for yes, or if you don't want one for some reason, type N for no. If we get enough Y's for yes, we'll do one of those in the coming days here on the Cowboys Report. Next up is Kristian Fulton, who we've mentioned before on the show. I like him a lot. Now, I have recently learned that I might be higher on Kristian Fulton than other media and NFL people out there, which kind of surprises me, but he's a good athlete. And he can play man-to-man. Fulton and Henderson are one of, I think, the very few corners in this year's draft class who can play in man-to-man coverage. You don't always find those guys. They're tough to seek out because you got to be a good athlete. You got to be fluid. You got to be able to use your whatever length you have. Now, Fulton's length is not great. I don't love him as a press man corner. Henderson fits that press much better, but Fulton can still play man coverage. He's sticky. I like that. Now, he had some off-field stuff early on in his career, but he's good. The length is a bit of a red flag, but I like Fulton. I like Henderson. If you miss out on a Derrick Brown, a Javon Kinlaw, I would be content taking one of these guys at number 17 overall. So who would you rather have? Type H for Henderson, F for Fulton. I think I'm leaning more towards Henderson as I get more and more in depth with his stats, his production, of course, his film as well. But I'd be happy with either, but cast your votes in the comments section. Now, there are some other, I consider, trade-down targets. I like Jeff Gladney a lot. I wouldn't hate him at 17, but I don't think he's going to be a top 3 corner off the board, so I put him in the trade-down candidate. Trevon Diggs, I think, could also be available later on in round 1. Damon Arnett did not test that well at the Combine, but he's got some ability. And Noah Igbinoghene out of Auburn, kind of more of a round 2, but I wanted to include 4 guys on there. The cornerback class can thin out a little bit as you move along. That's kind of why I'm on board with going corner at 17. I can get Henderson or I can get Fulton and focus on other needs later on. Of course, safety is also a huge need for the Dallas Cowboys. And Delpit told me the Cowboys did meet with him at the NFL Combine. Now, he did not play as well in 2019 as he did back in 2018. And there's kind of some similarities here with CeeDee Henderson, different positions. Great 2018, tackling issues. Now, Delpit took offense to people saying he had bad tackling issues, but I'm sorry. I can't lie to you guys and say, oh yeah, Delpit tackled great, when he didn't. He missed a massive amount of tackles. His tackle rate was way too low. The missed tackle percentage was way too high, up in the 20 percentile, or in the 20%. That's way too high for a player. If you give me 2018 Grant Delpit guaranteed, baby, I'm taking him at 17 with without a doubt. He had a top 10 grade on me entering this year's season in college football. 2019 Grant Delpit, maybe a guy I don't want inside the top 20. Now we'll talk more safeties in a second, but first, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus. It is March, and you can now, if you really want to get into it, start betting on college basketball. We're getting closer and closer to diving into, of course, the NCAA tournament conference championship games as well. Kansas is the betting favorite right now because, well, of course they are. Duke's up there because, it's Duke. They're always going to have high title odds, even if it's maybe not their year. Baylor's having a fantastic season. And I'll shout out little small school Dayton, too. They've had a great year as well. Those are just some of the title odds available on BetDSI. Of course, you can also bet on individual games at chatsports.com/bet. That promo code is Cowboys120. Next up, Xavier McKinney, who did say thinks he would fit the Cowboys scheme. He is a reliable safety. He's not the same, I don't think, caliber of athlete that Grant Delpit is. I have some concerns about when he gets into space, when he's out way wide or deep as a single high. I don't always trust him the most in that role. But when he's near the box playing in a contested area, especially against tight ends, I like him in that. And he would fill a big-time need for the Cowboys. You can pair Xavier McKinney and Xavier Woods. We'll have to think of a clever nickname for those guys, something with X's involved for sure. But it would work. And I like McKinney. I have not set my final big board, and I won't for a while, even for the Cowboys' individual big board. But I think what's going to end up happening is I'm going to have McKinney and Delpit at just outside my top 17. They might be in my top 20, top 25, top 32 for sure. So I do like them. I just don't know if it's the right fit for the Cowboys at number 17. I still tend to lean more towards Grant Delpit between these two players. I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive. Yes, my bust potential is higher, but if I can get a potential dynamite, true single high free safety, that's more valuable to me than a reliable, safer player, safer in quotes because it is the NFL draft, in Xavier McKinney. Now, some other safety prospects. I know many of you are on board with me. I'm a big Antoine Winfield fan. I'm a big Kyle Duggar fan as well. My dream scenario for the Cowboys, right, is I figure out my cornerback/receiver need in round one, depending on who's back. Probably going to be Amari, and you lose Byron, so I take a corner instead. And then I get one of Antoine Winfield or Kyle Duggar at safety in round two, and I'm feeling good. That's just my mindset. We'll see how the Cowboys disappoint me this year. Let's talk briefly now about some edge rushers. K'Lavon Chaisson is next up on this list. Now, in terms of his play style, he fits more of that Robert Quinn mold than a DeMarcus Lawrence mold. What I mean by that is that Chaisson is a bendier athletic player. He's not going to dominate you with power. He might not be the greatest against the run, although frankly I thought he played pretty well in that role at LSU. Now his overall production doesn't jump off the page. You go, geez, 6.5 sacks, Tom, that's not that good. No, it's not. But he got a lot of pressure. You could tell he was getting better and better each and every game that he played, especially as the year went on. And he was banged up a lot previously and looks healthy now. Had I thought, a pretty damn good CFP run as well. And he can cover and play the run despite not being the biggest guy out there. So I like Chaisson a lot. I'm also not sure he's going to be there at number 17 overall. So we talked about who you guys want. We haven't really mentioned about who we should avoid. Who do you guys want the Cowboys to not pick in the first round of the NFL draft? Is it someone we've mentioned? Is it somebody we have mentioned? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Maybe some of you think it's this next player, A.J. Epinesa out of Iowa, who, I want to make this clear, I still like him. I still believe that Epinesa can be a very good NFL player. But his combine was not good. Now, we did not anticipate this incredible athlete like Chase Young. No, we didn't think that was going to happen. But he tested bad. And I know he's bigger than most players and wins with length and power, but 275, you're coming in above a 5-second 40-yard dash. Your three cone's not very good either. Overall, his athletic testing, even though he's a bigger guy, even once you weight adjust it, it's not great. And now it's kind of like, geez, can I play him as a base defensive end? kick him inside on passing downs, that's an option, but you can find those guys later. The value of that player is not nearly as high as a bendier, better athlete like Caleb Von Chasen. Now, I do want to mention some other edge guys here. Curtis Weaver, I don't want him at 17. Round 2, sign me up. He, of course, because he's a Boise State player, his first formal meeting at the NFL Combine was with the Dallas Cowboys. Some other bendier edge guys I like. I'm not sure it's 17 overall, but if they're on the board in round 2 still, even if I have Quinn back, I'm going to consider that. Zach Bond out of Wisconsin, Josh Uche out of Michigan. Both of those guys, by the way, could give you some more flexibility down the road to run more 3-4 looks on base downs. Julian Okwara, I like him. And finally, Yeturgos Matos out of Penn State. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.